Welcome back to NBA Today. The Suns, they won Game 5 to take a 3-2 series lead. What are we going to do with them? The game was over, though, when they led after 3. Phoenix improved to 50-0 when taking a lead into the fourth. And Mikal Bridges, he dominated at both ends, making 12 of 17 shots to record his second career 30-point game, including the regular season, while defensively limiting the Pelicans to 3 of 17, including 2 for 14 for C.J. McCollum and Ingram. And Chris Paul, he went for at least 20 points and 10 assists for the 31st time in his playoff career. Although, shout out Jose Alvarado for holding it down because that was impressive. That breaks a tie with former Suns Kevin Johnson, the third most games in NBA history behind only Magic and LeBron. So with all that being said, Richard Jefferson, starting with you, fill in the blank. The Suns' X factor that will help them close out Game 6 is?
The Cams. It's got to be the Cams, in my opinion. It's got to be Cam Payne. It's got to be Cam Johnson. And this is why. You know what DeAndre Ayton, he's kind of somewhat consistent when you look at it. He's going to get you anywhere between 15 and 20-something points and close to 10 rebounds. But Cam Johnson has made such huge strides. Cam Payne, you've been there before. You have led this team before. No Devin Booker. So instead of saying, like, oh, we need to replace Devin Booker and all these points, it's like, no, you just need other guys to step up and be more consistent. If those two play at a high level, and you know what Chris Paul does, especially getting into crunch time, you know what DeAndre Ayton does in the depth, I think that'll be the thing that helps them close.
Well, it's no X factor because it's the Pelicans winning in 7. Okay, the Pelicans is going to win Game 6. Look, you have to look at the game.
I don't have to look at nothing.
Yes, you do. Go back and look at the game last night. Chris Paul was exhausted at halftime. Okay, it wearing down on him. I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain the level of play that the Suns need him to play at. And so when I look at last night, Mikal Bridges had an out-of-body experience, man. Like, look, he's a good player, but he had a great game. Like,
great game.
Yeah. I don't expect him to do that again.
Why do you think I said Cam Payne and Cam Johnson? I wouldn't say Mikal Bridges got to do that
but
again.
I'm not putting my faith in the Cams. I'm saying there's no X factor. I'm going with those good people out of New Orleans, baby. That's who I'm rolling with. Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum winning Game 6, forcing the Game 7, and then the Pelicans closing it out in Game 7.
All the things that have gone wrong for the Phoenix Suns, right? You know, it just to start this postseason, losing Devin Booker, all the things, just kind of struggling a little bit. I still feel like they are in control of this series. They've always been in control of this series.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
How?
They have been in control of this series because I believe a team that has been there and done that, those are the ones that I am going to bet.
Listen, there's no way you could tell me that they've been in control of this series when Brandon Ingram is averaging 30 points and shooting 50% from the field and 50% from the three. That don't sound like control to me.
3-2 sounds like control when your best player is out. If you're up 3-2 and your best player is out, and
look, when two men disagree, the next word is bet.
Say less. What's the bet?
We'll talk about it.
Don't ever grab my hand like you mean it.
I don't want to grab your hand at all.
Wait, do you have a wet fish handshake?
Oh, he does. He does. He was like, let's make a bet. Let's make a bet.
Hey, you know what? Hey, shout out to my boy Kevin Johnson, who owns Fixes right up the way, best soul food in L.A. that I be going to every day.
You maybe cut it back maybe like 3 times, 4 times a week.
No, that's why he's rolling with the Pelicans. He wants that beignet smoke. I see where he's rocking with now.
Okay, but no, bro. I'm sorry. Suns in 6.
All right, gentlemen, if it's all right with you, let's stick in the West here. Will Steph Curry start tonight? That's the big question heading into tonight's Game 5. The All-Star, he's come off the bench for the Warriors in every one of the first 4 games, with Steve Kerr steadily increasing his minutes every game. He played 37 minutes in Game 4, and he's led Golden State in scoring each of these last 3 games, even though he came off the bench. The Warriors, they have a chance to close this series out in a matter of hours. And as it pertains to Steph and his questions, Kendra Andrews is joining us now. So how is gamesmanship, let's say, coming into play here as the world waits on this decision?
Well, Malika, Steve Kerr doesn't want to tip his hand to Micah Malone and the Nuggets, so the Warriors are being very tight-lipped when talking about Steph and whether he's going to come off the bench or start. We tried asking Steph himself, what is the plan? And he said, wait, what was the question you just asked? And then gave us a little wink. But Malika, there's another important question that needs to be answered when discussing Steph and his impending return to the starting lineup. You cannot have 6 guys on the court at once, right? So someone has to move to the bench. The Warriors have also been very quiet on who that will be. But I've talked talked to all 6 players, Clay, Draymond, Jordan, Kevon, Andrew, and Steph, and from what they're telling me, it doesn't seem like moving someone to the bench is going to be an issue for anyone because this team has one very clear goal in mind.
Every season, every situation you find yourself in, you have to just make the right call in terms of what's in the spirit of winning and giving yourself and your team the best shot at winning. And that's everything should line up to that. And we should be able to handle whatever decisions or whatever role you have to kind of assume, based on what the answer to that question is.
Now, whether or not Steph is starting or coming off the bench, we probably won't know until just before the game, but there's one thing that we know for sure. He has been cleared to not be under a minute restriction, so he will be back to playing his full minute load. Malika.
No minutes restriction for Steph Curry. That is good news for the Warriors as they try to close this out. Kendra, thank you so much. I want to bring back in Tim Legler now because if the Warriors do manage to close it out, that 3-headed backcourt, it's going to be matching up with an elite perimeter player no matter how you slice it next round, right? It's either going to be Ja Morant or it's going to be the Ant-Man. So, Tim, take us through the final 3 possessions of last night's thriller between the Grizz and the Wolves, please.
Yeah, you're going to see a couple of guards being special here late. Some great coaching as well along the way, but athletic ability, I think, took over when it mattered most, Malik. And taking you through this stretch, and what an incredible game this was, incredibly entertaining. And this is another guy that was a hero in the game. He's not going to get a lot of attention, but it's Brandon Clark. And I want you to take a look at him because he's right here underneath the basket, and he is being boxed. This is great defensive box-out positioning right here. And actually, if you look at Minnesota, you can't ask for more than this. You've got 4 other white jerseys inside of every single blue jersey. There is no reason for the Memphis Grizzlies to get this offensive rebound, but take a look right here. You see Clark's eyes are up. He's following the track of the basketball, and all he's going to do is use those young legs. He goes up, and look for how high he goes. He actually tips this ball. He is above the rim when he hits this, and he doesn't just hit it. He actually throws a direct pass to Ja Morant. This is the biggest possession in the game, in my opinion. He steps into it, give him credit. Had not shot the ball well from the perimeter, knocks down a 3, but then this is just beautiful right here. Take a look at this play design. This is Anthony Edwards right here. He's going to come off, and you're going to see him just run a little token cut up here, looking like he's not really involved in the play. You get a back screen, and he breaks out. This player comes down here. So that's just the initial action, but it gets interesting after it comes in to Karl Anthony Towns and what happens next. You get a dribble handoff. You're going to get downhill, down the middle of the lane. This is really important because you took out 2 defenders. So now that means Brandon Clark is your backline defender. He has to watch this, and he also means he's got to stay under the rim. Look who else is watching the ball. Ja Morant is also concerned about it. Well, that leaves a perfect opportunity for a back screen flare right here. Bring Anthony Edwards to the corner, and then this is a great delivery of the basketball. Perfect timing, well contested by Clark. That's just a big-time shot by a young player, and that sets up this last play. Now we're tied up, sideline out of bounds. I'll get through this initial action. It's really just a decoy, running some guys through. Here's where it begins, and this is Anthony Edwards. Mistake. You're getting a down screen. You want Ja to come up in here. You're Anthony Edwards right here guarding him. You have 2 options on this. You either go under and you meet him right here. He catches the ball with you in front of him, or if you're going to go over the screen, the angle has to be here, back toward the foul line. So when he catches it, you are in front of him. If Ja Morant makes a jump shot with a hand up, so be it, but that's not what happens. Take a look at the angle Anthony Edwards takes. He comes all the way up here on the high side. Ja goes here, so when the ball comes in, Anthony Edwards is taking himself out of the play. Now, Ja's eyes light up. He sees the rim, nobody in front of him, and guys, take a look at where he takes off. We talked about that dunk, but look at where he finally jumps on this layup. He's out in this area, above the dotted, still gets there with his left hand and finishes the play. So you saw some young guards making big plays late. Ja, obviously, the biggest one of all, because now Memphis has a chance at least to know they've got a Game 7 at home and they're not facing the prospect of being eliminated on the road.
Well, you mentioned Ja Morant's eyes lit up. Literally, Richard, Perk, and I were all sitting in studio during your breakdown like, oh, yeah, yep, that you nailed that, Legs. Thank you so much for all of that information. The Timberwolves and the Grizzlies, though, they've largely series, so still ahead on NBA Today. When can we...
RJ, it's the playoffs. Come on, buddy.
He climbed his back, and then he stared him down and let him know.
Yeah, that's... But look,
remember, he's 7 foot everything now.
7 foot thing, everything. But look, shot blockers, they just, they got to take it on the chin sometimes.
My goodness, T-Mac.
Yeah,
all right.
he took it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So that's your nominee. I feel like I got to go in. My guy, my favorite dunker Him and Dominique were my two favorite dunkers before Vince showed up. And watch this. Oh, my God. Point at him. See, now that gets you double technical, thrown out the game, but that was back in like the.
He points like me on a show.
That is.
RJ, you know what they call that, right?
What is it called? Tell him.
The Lister Blister.
The Lister Blister. Look, he didn't have nothing to do. That was just.
Ja, Perk, I mean.
You absolutely. I'm sticking on the dark side. Look,
We figured.
Ja Morant, and it wasn't just that
Too soon.
he rejected the pick and roll and took out from outside the dots and gave him the stare down, and he dunked it and cuffed it with his wrist. But it was the timing. If this doesn't happen, the Memphis Grizzlies don't win this game. The crowd was out of it. The Minnesota Timberwolves had the momentum, and then
not
all
talking
of
about
a
the impact.
sudden he gave this
Talking about
dead.
dunks.
You want to see a dead body?
Well, let me put on my fizz face and rep for the Bay here because Baron Davis on Karolinko in Oracle Arena in 2007. My goodness.
Lift up the jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
And obviously we've seen Cannon Curry do it, Steph Curry do it all
Yes.
since.
AK-47.
There you
bullets
go.
there.
Yes.
I was in the building for that one. I still have that shirt somewhere tucked into a drawer.
You were in your mama's belly at that time.
And I was fighting men. too.
Stop it.
You were fighting. Who do you got, Vince?
Baron Davis was good.
Thank you.
Lister Blister was good. Ja Morant is recent. I'm sticking to the family, man.
T-Mac.
I'm going with the family.
This is so biased.
So
This is
please.
biased.
Yeah, this is
I
so
know you ain't
biased.
talking about
Is that
Mr.
biased?
Celtic,
Was
Ja
that great?
Morant, G12. Like, come on, man. You Mr. Bias.
I'm not kidding the job.
I think this might be the biggest
T-Mac,
one. Over
welcome to the
7
upper
foot.
room,
Yeah,
baby.
but-
Baron Davis? That one.
Listen, I get it, but in
We're
Sean
talking
Bradley's.
about, you
but,
talk about time and
no,
score.
no, but listen.
This was a big moment.
But listen, in
is a
Sean,
big play.
in Sean Bradley defense,
This
he
wasn't
was
the first round.
He was pulled against Yao Ming.
He was already wrestling with Yao Ming
Who's
down
7
low.
foot everything.
Get out the way.
I have a new rule.
You heard what
Next
Ludacris
week-
said? Move. Get out the way.
No,
I
what'd you
was
say?
like, are you going to keep going? I was like, get out the way.
No,
Yeah, we're
no,
done. A new rule, Vince. Next week, we are going to stump you. There is no way we're getting 2 Vince nominees in a row. Like, this is my personal mission
That's
now.
it.
I am going to get my nominee
let's
into the upper room.
Don't surprise me, Vince.
Don't surprise me. Don't surprise me. Both you guys cheating.
All right. Well,
Hey, welcome to T-Mac family.
Oh,
Cousins
okay.
in the upper room, baby.
welcome, T-Mac. All right.
Free bottles for everyone.
Okay, I get game 5, but they're going to be without Zach LaVine, who's in health and safety protocols, and Alex Caruso is out because of concussion protocols. So, Big Perk, I want to start with you. Do you give? I'm not even going to finish.
Do I
the
give
question.
what? Look, the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Bulls by 30 in Game 3 and 30 in Game 4, and you telling me no Caruso and no Levine, and you walking into Giannis's house, the best player in the NBA, and you asking me, do I give them a chance? Hell no.
They always have a chance. There's always a chance. Like, let's say hypothetically, DeMar DeRozan goes for 70, breaks Jordan's record, and then Giannis enters protocol. There's always a
need to go
chance.
knock on some
I'm
wood right
just
now.
saying there's always a chance. Just hypothetically, and this is look, as much as we joke, it is unfortunate. Look, no Caruso, no Lonzo Ball, and then all of a sudden you have Zach LaVine, your all-star in protocol. So like we're joking, but it just sucks when that's the way that this series has gone down. Now, again, Milwaukee Bucks, they're missing Chris Middleton.
Yep.
So you don't feel bad, but it's just tough because maybe one. But when you're missing multitudes of players going against that type of
That-
monster,
that's
there's
cool.
no chance. No one cares.
Do you
Stop.
give them a chance?
No.
Okay, cool.
No, look, I'm saying there's a chance. Do I think they will win? No. But is there a chance? There's always a chance. There's always a chance.
Okay.
Okay.
Several former All-Stars, they're on the men this postseason. Devin Booker, Kyle Lowry, they're dealing with hamstring injuries. Chris Middleton and Jimmy Butler have injured knees. Fred VanVleet is also banged up. So one bright spot, Donovan Mitchell said today that he's, quote, good to go for tomorrow's Game 6 that's against the Mavericks. But for more insight on some of these pivotal player injuries, bringing in our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. So, Adrian, let's start with Devin Booker, who played in Game 2 last against the Pelicans. What kind of timeline are Devin and the Suns currently looking at here?
Yeah, Malika, the Suns have been careful to not rule Devin Booker out of this series. They've really tried to handle, publicly anyway, his absence on a game-by-game basis. The original timeline, the expectation we were told was 2 to 3 weeks, but perhaps 2 weeks, that it would be potentially into a second-round series before he'd be ready to come back. And in a perfect world for the Suns, they'd be able to close this series out, obviously, in Game 6. They've got 2 chances to do it in Game 6 or Game 7. They've not ruled Booker out of either of those games yet, but it still feels as though, Malika, that this is an injury that Devin Booker would be able to return from sometime in the conference semifinals.
Okay, so heading east now, Woj, to check on Chris Middleton, who also exited in a Game 2 last week. He was diagnosed with a sprained MCL in his left knee with a reevaluation targeted for next week. So, Woj, how is Middleton recovering and progressing here?
And Malika, he'll get that reevaluation at the 14-day, 2-week point next week. But I'm told that injury is expected to keep him out longer than that. There's not a sense that he's going to get reevaluated at 2 weeks, then all of a sudden be back at practice and be ready to play. That's a benchmark in this process. But the Bucks certainly, they're on the cusp of getting by the Bulls here.
Yep.
They may have to get through another series, a conference semifinal, before they may have the opportunity to get Chris Middleton back in this season.
And lastly, please, Woj, Andre Iguodala has been managing a neck injury all series against the Nuggets. He's listed as out in tonight's Game 5 with a left cervical disc injury. So this sounds serious. What exactly is he dealing with here?
Yeah, another setback for Iguodala, the Warriors. Certainly, this is the time of the year where you really value having him on your team in the postseason. They'll reevaluate that injury next Wednesday. But certainly losing him out of their rotation now, their lineup, they've got to certainly be prepared to, if they're going to close out Denver here, obviously they're without him tonight, and they may have to go another series or certainly into the conference semifinals without Andre Iguodala.
So the Warriors, they will face the Nuggets tonight and try to close out that series. Adrian Wojnarowski, thank you so much. Coming up next on End the Trick. I love it. What a game here with Big Perk and Richard Jefferson. And I've got to tell everybody at home, our text chain, it was going off last night, mostly with words that I can't actually say on TV. But I'm going to say euphemisms for insane, things like that. When Ja dunked, it felt like Twitter exploded. And believe you me, we will get to that dunk. But before we do that, I want to get to the craziness that was the end of the game. And Perk, since you are the president, the founding member of the G12 fan club, I'm contractually obligated to start with you here. What did you learn about the Grizzlies at the end of Game 5?
Well, you know what? That Ja Morant performance in the fourth quarter was Jordan-esque, the way that he took over the game. Yes, 33 points, I believe it was, 30 points, 13 rebounds, dropped out 9 dimes, but it's the way he took over the game. Another thing, he was relentless in getting to the basket, couldn't be stopped. What I did learn about the others is now this has become Ja Morant and Desmond Bane's team. But as you talk about the depth, I thought Clark came in off the bench and had a monster night, a big double-double. Tyus Jones played exceptionally well. Dylan Brooks struggled. And by the way,
now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. So I've had the pleasure of calling 2 of these games. And Cat has answered the call. He has done a good job. But we're not talking about good. You need to be great in the postseason. And one thing we learned about Cat, these are when he was double-teamed in Game 5. He had 7 total plays. He got 2 points, 2 field goals, 4 turnovers. That is not good. And what we're going to do is you're going to walk with us. We're going to talk with you. We're going to explain to you what Cat needs to do better. I've been very, very fortunate. I've played with Tim Duncan. I've played with Dirk Nowitzki. And all of these guys are masters. They are masters at handling the double team. All right, Cat. Now, this is the video. This is what I want you to show you. Watch where he's catching it. The worst pass that you can throw is that type of pass. You got 3 free safeties over there, and they have been crushing him on this. And every single time, they are just going to double team him until you make them pay for double teaming. And again, here, score. Look, they're going to Cat. It's 2-11. They're going to their big fella. He's posting up at the 3-point line. He's got nowhere to go. Now, look, that's a good pass there, a little flood, but you can see they're not getting much. Ball still on the same side. It is very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to see what you can do if you're going to take the double teams like that. All right, now we're going to break it down. Now, I had a little bit of post play in my work, but now here we go. So this is what Cat needs to do a little bit better. First of all, if you know they're double teaming, and this is something that you can practice, you have one guy here. Perk's gonna come. We got our 2 offensive players on the side. Perk's coming. Now, what you need to do is you need to take an escape dribble. If you stand here doing this, you got free safeties here. They're always gonna steal it. But if you come, keep going. Keep coming, Perk. Keep coming. Now look at how much further. Now, Perk, go out. Perk has so much further to go. If you just stand here stationary, it's not going to work. Come back, Perk. Now, if Perk comes and then you dip out again, now you can rip baseline and you can be pointing at the 3 seconds. That's what you used to see with Charles Barkley. That's what you used to see with Tim Duncan and Shaq. They would be pointing. Who's he guarding? Who's he guarding? Because he's playing games with the defense. So for me, when I watch Cat and you look at those numbers, 7 double teams, he got 4 turnovers. That means that they are going to keep double teaming him all night until he masters that. That is something that who's gotten a lot better at that?
Joel Embiid, he does it so well. Back dribble out, the double team leaves, he keeps his dribble. Now he has the one-on-one matchup that he wants, and he's downhill going to work. Cat, you got to understand this. By the way, you should already know this. You're in your 8th season, but we're here to teach you.
Yeah, well, listen, I think he's got enough teachers there, but they're going to keep double teaming until you see it. Malika?
Shout out to Demetrius, Jalen, and Forrest, our production staff, for helping up there.
Yeah, they already know what the fam is.
But now for the moment you have all been waiting for, the jaw-dropping dunk heard round the basketball world. Let's see it. It's the closing seconds of the 3rd quarter. Memphis is down 13 at this point, and oh my goodness! Get out the way, snatched his soul. Sorry, Malik Beasley. That was insane. And look at the bench celebrating, puffing up their chests. Here's how it sounded.
Hit him, Ian.
Winner takes a 3-2 lead in this opening round series. Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker! Morant downhill into the lane. He hangs it. Oh my goodness. He jumps right over Malik Beasley with a right-handed hammer. Oh, Lord.
So here's the deal. Ian Eagle is the GOAT.
Yes, he is.
What a moment. What'd you guys think of how it sounded?
You know what? It was okay, but I would have been like, God bless America. He just signed Malik Beasley to God.
Do you want a chance to call it?
Yeah, I do. I do.
All right,
Run it back.
Well, let's do it.
You're trying to take my job.
Here we go. That's right. Roll the tape. Rejects the screen. Oh, John Morant down the lane. Oh, God bless America. Oh, he sent Malik Beasley to heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
You think you can do? I know you're usually the color commentator, Richard. Do you think that you can do any better than what Kendrick Perkins did? Let's see.
Yeah, but you know that's what it is. That we already know. John Morant with the crossover takes off. Oh my God! Whose baby is that? Somebody get that little baby out the street. Out there messing with grown men. What is going on? Did his mom sign the waiver? Love you, Mom. I'm just joking. That's his mama. I love her. I love her. I love her.
All right, let's take a listen to John Morant on this.
Bees, you still my guy.
It definitely, ignited the crowd, gave us some energy. And, from then on, I was pretty much just being very aggressive. I'm not going to speak on what else sparked me.
I was right there. I always get the best views of his dunks, really. And it was crazy. I was right there. I was like, yo, he just brought the ball all the way back and flushed it hard.
Happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, man. Yeah, I mean, Ja does what he does, but yeah, poor guy. I like Beasley too. He a good dude, but it's tough. He gonna see that on Twitter tomorrow.
He's a good dude. That's his version of with all due respect. We can't talk about Ja's dunk and not have one
He's a good dude.
He's a good dude. You're a good dude, Vince Carter. Half man, half amazing. The dunker himself. So, Vince, break it down for us, please. What did you see in that dunk? Break it down in only a way that you can.
I saw an opportunity for Ja to have another mark on his armor and another poster in the arena, because one thing about Ja is we know he likes to get to his left, but he set it up. They tried to cheat the screen and try to get over the screen, and just a quick jab step. You see here, I got you crossover. Oh. And somebody like Ja Morant, you see here, when he sees that space, yes.
From the dots.
If you're a Timberwolves fan, you're saying, hey, that was a charge. But we're going to look at that again, because right here, you see he leans to the left, his left. He leans to the left a little bit to avoid the charge. So he has that kind of hang time, guys. RJ, you know about that. When he gets in the air, because he had so much room and so much space and time, he saw Beasley sitting there like, yeah, charge, and he's like, not today, boss.
But
he
RJ
took it
was
to the
saying that
upper
wasn't even the most
room, baby.
impressive. Ooh, well, we're going to get to that later. RJ was saying that's not even the most impressive play to you that Ja made of the night.
No, it was a three-point shot. The three-point shot, that's the difference in his game when he can knock down consistently. And look, he hadn't been shooting the ball well and really over the series from three. So to knock down the most crucial three to give them the lead, I think it was their first lead since the first quarter, that was the biggest play. The dunk got the energy going. The three-point shot was that was special.
I think if you don't have the dunk, then you don't get to the three-point shot, because if you listen or you was watching the game, the arena was dead at that moment. That actually sparked the arena along with the players that initiate the run for them to even get to the point where he was able to knock down the three-point shot.
Go ahead, Vince.
I want to add one more thing. You know what another big point of the game is? Remember, he gave up the three. It was his guy on the back screen that he gave up the three. So, he hits the big shot, so I think that was one of the big plays as far as the layup is concerned. Obviously, a defensive lap by young guys reaching. Come on, Anthony Edwards.
He know better. You got to learn. You got to be in those moments to learn. You got to be in those moments to learn.
Well, we're going to have a little bit more time later in the show to break down.
It's making people remember, because I ain't no joke.
Man, what a night it was for Victor Oladipo. He didn't even play in the first 3 games of the series by coach's decision, but then he stepped up big in Game 5 when called upon to start with Jimmy Butler out and Kyle Lowry out, remember. Oladipo, he poured in 23 points, 8 for 16 shooting after scoring 6 points all series entering the night. Here's Oladipo on his big game.
A year ago today, I was expecting and waiting for my next surgery. I remember a year ago today, around this time last year, I was sitting in a dark room by myself and just broke down. Not because I quit, but because I was at the lowest point I could be at. Now, God has put me in this position today, so I just made the most of it. I can't really explain why I'm going through what I went through. I can't really explain why I'm here today, but I'm staying in the moment and making every moment mean something.
Poignant words, big scarf, glasses, energy.
I was just trying to see. Was he on his deathbed?
No, we don't know. We don't know. He's got multiple injuries. We don't know what else is going on. So he's just saying, I can't really explain why I was where I was.
Oh, okay.
But he did say that he's been a fighter since before he was born. So I want to know how that works. What was your reaction to his performance, Perk?
You know what? I mean, it was everything. It was the true definition of being a professional. A guy that's like Victor Oladipo, that was a former All-Star, a guy that was a franchise player of an organization, and getting DNPs, and he's ready to play. You have to stay in the moment, and he stayed ready physically and mentally. You didn't see the complaining. You didn't see the pouting. He wasn't being a cancer. He wasn't going to social media and lashing out. No, when his time was called, his number was called, he went out there and he got it done in great fashion in a closeout game. And he was the reason why the Miami Heat closed the Atlanta Hawks out last night.
It's impressive. I think from a professional standpoint, when you watch guys that go through a series of injuries and then they're trying to get going and then they're on a great team, so they're not going to crack the rotation unless an injury or something happens. But even then, it's spot. The thing that I like most about Victor Oladipo is now you know that he potentially has the ability. If he can give you 18, 19 points in one game a series, that's going to be a game that he most likely helps the Miami Heat win. And this just makes their team deeper, makes their team better, makes their team more scary.
Well, and just to go along with what he was talking about from Dave McMenamin's story, he's played in 96 of a possible 309 regular season games over the last 4 years. So, I mean, he's been going through it. We just talked about Vic's ability to get buckets, but the story, to me at least, coming out of this series was the Heat's impeccable defense on Trae Young. I mean, effectively rendering him moot all series long. So here's what Trae said about Miami's stellar D.
their team is more of a system than who they have on their team. And no matter who they have out there, they can play. It's about their system, and their defensive system is all about helping. And when they got a guy that they're targeting to take away, they do a really good job of doing that.
Trey, is this, in your mind, the best a team has ever defended you?
For sure. I mean, the numbers would say that. Obviously, I didn't shoot the ball well. I think I couldn't get into certain places that I'm normally capable of getting into and able to get into. And I think it was, it's going to be something that is part of my growth and something I'm going to get better at. And I know next time I'm faced with this challenge, and I'm going to be better.
So who better to break down that swarming defense than Tim Legler? Legs, what caught your eye there?
Yeah, listen, everybody has the same idea against Trae Young, but very few teams can actually commit to it and then execute it flawlessly and do it for 4 or 5 games the way that they did. I'll take a look here at exactly what they were doing to Trae Young and really their entire team offensively. This one's from Game 4, and it starts with this. P.J. Tucker's not trying to pick his pocket. He's not trying to get up into him too aggressively. He just wants to make him feel him a little bit, and he wants to pick him up here inside the foul line. And take a look at the shot clock, because all you're trying to do is eat up time, because every second you eat up in the backcourt is one less second Trae Young has in the scoring area of the floor. So just make him work. So here's what he's done. He's accomplished his goal. By the time they cross half court, 7 seconds are off. Now, Trae Young has got 2 options here for screens. Both guys are up, and look where the defenders are. How many times in games do you see defenders that are back and Trae Young comes off, walks into a 3? Look at where the defenders are already this early in the possession. You come up. Now, watch the multiple switches. Now, this is special here. This is your center. So Bam Adebayo is going to jump out. Now, Trae Young is eyeing up another screen potentially coming right here. Take a look at the effort by Jimmy Butler. He's got to come out here eventually, get on the high side, because he has to have another switch take place. If you're back, Trae Young walks into a 3, gets in rhythm. There it is. Jump out switch. Now, tries to take Jimmy Butler off the dribble. Take a look at Bam. Middle of the foul line. He's playing help and recover. So he's going to help on Trae Young. He's going to recover back to the shooter. And again, this is a big out here playing both guards. Great job. Ball kicks out. Bogdanovich eyes him up. He's going to say, okay, I want to go this way. Get him off the dribble. We'll take a look at the help on this side. Again, help, recover. Help, recover. Stop the ball penetration, recover the shooter. Does it flawlessly. Tries to take him 2 different times. And then the final component. Once he catches it, we're going to force baseline. Look at the positioning on the weak side. Triangle inside. They're going to think that you got Clint Capella open, but take a look at the rotation of Jimmy Butler to come over here and make a play after P.J. Tucker stops penetration. It's literally on a string. This is the kind of stuff you do in a drill in a basketball camp or in training camp. That was from Game 4. And then from last night, let's take a look at this last possession. And most of this, you can just let it run, because look what they do. This time, Atlanta says, we're going to put him off the ball. Let's see if we can get Trae Young off the ball. Well, look at the problem with that. By the time he comes out to catch it, look where he is. He's almost at half court on this first catch. So you've already done your job. Now, you're going to put multiple defenders. This is a 3-point game. All you want to do is take away Trae Young's 3-point shot. You don't even care if you give this up. You're going to stay with him as long as it takes. Deny, pressure all over the floor. By the time Huerter catches it, look where he is on the floor. You're talking about 40 feet from the basket. Now the shot clock is winding down. Deny Trae Young. Pressure all over the court. Huerter has nowhere to go. Finally, one last denial right here. Trae Young is not catching it. You're going to have to go to Gallinari, who tries to create something out of nothing. But here's the thing. You're down 3, and all they could get was a pressure 2-point pull-up shot right off the edge of the lane. You can't do it any better than the Miami Heat did, and Eric Spoelstra talked about it. Multiple efforts, and you do it possession by possession, and you do it for 5 straight games, and now you advance to the next star they're going to try to take out.
Well, Max Strus said that they just kind of threw everybody at him. And just to put a bow on this whole thing, he finished, Trae Young did, with more turnovers than field goals. 30 turnovers, 22 made field goals. That's over the course of those 5 games. Game 5 to take a 3-2 series lead. What are we going to do with him? The game was over, though, when they led after 3. Phoenix improved to 50-0 when taking a lead into the 4th. And Mikal Bridges, he dominated at both ends, making 12 of 17 shots to record his 2nd career 30-point game, including the regular season, while defensively limiting the Pelicans to 3 of 17, including 2 for 14 for C.J. McCollum and Ingram. And Chris Paul, he went for at least 20 points and 10 assists for the 31st time in his playoff career. Although Shout out Jose Alvarado for holding it down because that was impressive. That breaks a tie with former Suns Kevin Johnson, the third most games in NBA history behind only Magic and LeBron. So with all that being said, Richard Jefferson, starting with you, fill in the blank. The Suns' X factor that will help them close out Game 6 is?
The Cams. It's got to be the Cams, in my opinion. It's got to be Cam Payne. It's got to be Cam Johnson. And this is why. You know what DeAndre Ayton, he's kind of somewhat consistent when you look at it. He's going to get you anywhere between 15 and 20-something points and close to 10 rebounds. But Cam Johnson has made such huge strides. Cam Payne, you've been there before. You have led this team before. No Devin Booker. So instead of saying, like, oh, we need to replace Devin Booker and all these points, it's like, no, you just need other guys who step up and be more consistent. If those two play at a high level, and you know what Chris Paul does, especially getting into crunch time, you know what DeAndre Ayton does in the depth, I think that'll be the thing that helps them close.
Well, it's no X factor because it's the Pelicans winning in 7. Okay, the Pelicans is going to win Game 6. Look, you have to look at the game.
I don't have to look at nothing.
Yes, you do. Go back and look at the game last night. Chris Paul was exhausted at halftime. Okay, it wearing down on him. I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain the level of play that the Suns need him to play at. And so when I look at last night, Mikal Bridges had an out-of-body experience, man. Like, look, he's a good player, but he had a great game. Like,
great game.
Yeah. I don't expect him to do that again.
Why do you think I said Cam Payne and Cam Johnson? I wouldn't say Mikal Bridges got to do that
but
again.
I'm not putting my faith in the Cams. I'm saying there's no X factor. I'm going with those good people out of New Orleans, baby. That's who I'm rolling with. Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum winning Game 6, forcing the Game 7, and then the Pelicans closing it out in Game 7.
Well, all the things that have gone wrong for the Phoenix Suns, right? You know, it just to start this postseason, losing Devin Booker, all the things, just kind of struggling a little bit. I still feel like they are in control of this series. They've always been in control of this series.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
How?
They have been in control of this series because I believe a team that has been there and done that, those are the ones that I am going to bet.
Listen, there's no way you could tell me that they've been in control of this series when Brandon Ingram is averaging 30 points and shooting 50% from the field and 50% from the three. That don't sound like control to me.
3-2 sounds like control when your best player is out. If you're up 3-2 and your best player is out, and
look, when two men disagree, the next word is bet.
Say less. What's the bet?
We'll talk about it.
Don't ever grab my hand like you mean it.
I don't want to grab your hand at all.
Wait, do you have a wet fish handshake?
Oh, he does. He does. He was like, let's make a bet. Let's make a bet.
Hey, you know what? Hey, shout out to my boy Kevin Johnson, who owns Fixes right up the way, best soul food in LA that I be going to every day.
You maybe cut it back maybe like 3 times, 4 times a week.
No, that's why he's rolling with the Pelicans. He wants that beignet smoke. I see where he's rocking with now.
Okay, but no, bro. I'm sorry. Suns in 6.
All right, gentlemen, if it's all right with you, let's stick in the West.